someday.
That cannot be done.
So I do want to say about America's Cup, one thing I want to say to you is that I had an interesting experience. I went to go see John Stump, who's the CEO of Wells Fargo, and it was kind of fun for me because I'll never have a $500,000 bank account, but I have one right now at Wells Fargo, so it was kind of, I felt special. And I sat down with him, and what was interesting to me was that he talked about the fact that Mayor Newsom, who I respect in so many ways, had never gone to see the CEOs who haven't moved their jobs to either San Ramon or Phoenix, that they haven't gone to have a conversation and to say thank you or to say what's on your mind. And what was interesting to me was that he says, and you know, they look at me as if I'm an ATM for America's Cup. They're coming at me for money, money, money. And he said, you know when I'm interested? They don't have any interest in whether I or the talent of this institution can help make the investments that we do around America's Cup sustainable and last beyond them. And so I just say that to say you wouldn't kind of think that John Stump has the same agenda that you do in respect of like you wanting people to come here and to go into the neighborhoods for a cultural experience. But that's what I'm about, is about that level of collaboration, because I think he would be more turned on to talk with you about the vision that you have than he is in sitting down at a table with somebody from Louis Vuitton that's going to tell him why, you know, a $1 million investment gets them this picture in an ad versus a $3 million investment. And they're going to raise buckets of money, there's no question. But I do think that the corporate community here, they're not falling over themselves to write these checks. And so I think that you have some leverage with them because ultimately you're a longer customer than they're going to have from America's Cup. These folks are going to go to Valencia or wherever they're going to go. They're going to be gone in 3 years. And so I just say you might not think that they're your allies in this, but I kind of think that in a strange way they kind of are, because just like you don't feel like you're being asked about how to enhance the experience beyond just the nuts and bolts of people getting to a pier and seeing boats in the water, I don't think that they feel that their ability to create sustained customers and investments, jobs, and those things that they want, that's not on the table for them. So I'd be happy to make suggestions about people to talk to, but I think it's an interesting way to look at. You wouldn't think about that.
Yeah. Great,
Who are the
thank you.
people? Who are the people to talk with?
I think John Stump. I'd be happy to set you up to talk with him.
I mean,
and
who is the coordinating person for the planning?
for the America's Cup?
Yeah.
That is a
Besides-
train wreck.
Yeah.
It's a total train
There's
wreck.
several of them.
So there's a $30 million tail. That's the city people. That's like Mark Buell and Kerry McClellan.
Right.
Then there's like a $300 million deal, which is like 2 New Zealanders that drop in and out, and these folks don't like each other. You know, there's politics and everything. But I think the bottom line is that the San Francisco businesses that are being asked for big checks, they don't like the way they're being approached in this thing, because they're being approached as if they're just an ATM card to stick in there. And I think that if you can help them have an agenda, I think it would be a really fun thing to do.
Let's do it.
Yeah, if it's possible, 2 questions, and they're kind of related. But, well, one on the America's Cup. What happens after the America's Cup? Is there any room for the facilities that are built up there specifically for that event to be available as public gathering spaces, as arts facilities, as affordable workshops, or something along the lines of that on the port properties after the America's Cup is over? And then segueing into, I believe your campaign offices are on Market Street, and I wanted to see if you have any insight into what might be some of the best policies to advocate for and helping Mid-Market become an arts and creative zone.
So I'm going to start with the second question first. I sponsored legislation around student housing. So Boston showed me some good things, and that they have built 10,000 units of student housing over a decade. And I think for most students, Craigslist is like the housing vehicle. And in my opinion, I think a fair number of rental 3 bedrooms and such are gobbled up by students, so there's not as much family rental housing as there could be. So what they did in Boston was they took out the affordable requirement, recognizing that students by their nature are generally low income or qualify. And so that makes it easier to build housing. So one of the things that I've really been focused on is trying to get student housing built in the mid-market area. One example is there's been an effort to try and entice the Academy of Art, you know, megalopolis, into buying the AAA building, for example, because they wouldn't have to do the set-aside. They could create student housing there. And I think also anchoring something in mid-market would be great, because I think art students would love to live in a neighborhood like mid-market, and I think would bring, you know, some stability and strength to the neighborhood. So that's one of the things I think. I mean, I spent several months at 6th and Market, I'll tell you, I was very comfortable. Again, I grew up in New York. I grew up around a lot of heroin, a lot of, you know, dysfunction. I felt very at home there. I don't really know how to describe it, but
I did too.
I felt really at home there. But nobody would come and volunteer. It was crazy. I couldn't get people in that headquarters to save my life. And so, you know, sometimes you have to admit failure in things. And so for me, you know, I think Amy Cohen's doing a good job, and I'd like to kind of support that and continue to do things. Where will the Ruth Asawa campus? There've been some interest about locations on Golden Gate, and I'll tell you this much: I'm not going to leave office as mayor unless they take me out early and not get a school for the arts built there. On the stuff about America's Cup, I don't really know. I mean, so much has happened in the past few months since I've been gone from the board. I don't know it like I should. I think everything you're saying should happen. I just don't know the latest and greatest. I mean, right now, it seems like it's all about the money right now, which is why it's a good time for you to get in there and kind of get higher up on the agenda. Great seeing everybody. Thank you so much for welcoming me. Thanks so much.